overpopulated. We're all fish in a stream, swimming towards a vicious dream. Don't you know we're the walking dead, dead, dead? Our lives were meant to be this bleak. Somehow they got into our heads, heads, heads. We're wide awake, yet still asleep. We're the walking dead. Fear and hatred, dull and jaded. It's all been debated and manipulated. Nothing's ever as it seems. We're bound to believe everything they scream. Don't you know we're the walking dead, dead, dead? Our lives were meant to be this bleak. Somehow they got into our heads, heads, heads. We're wide awake, yet still asleep. We're the walking dead. We're the walking dead, dead. Oh, 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 oh. We're the walking dead. We're the walking dead, dead. Oh, 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 oh. Highly sedated, intoxicated. We're automated and overpopulated. Don't you know we're the walking dead, dead, dead? Our lives were meant to be this bleak. Somehow they got into our heads, heads, in our heads. We're wide awake, yet still asleep. We're the walking dead. We're the walking dead, dead. Oh, 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 oh. We're the walking dead. We're the walking dead, dead. Oh, 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 oh. Highly sedated, intoxicated. We're automated and overpopulated. We're all fish in a stream, swimming towards a vicious dream. Don't you know we're the walking dead, dead, dead? Our lives were meant to be this bleak. Somehow they got into our heads, heads, heads. We're wide awake, yet still asleep. We're the walking
There we go. Now you can hear me. Hi there. They call me the Governor, and welcome to Fear the Walking Dead final season discussion of episode 10. Keep Her Alive, I think it was called. And this continues to be lackluster final episodes, in my opinion. But we're a little light tonight. Bebe is unable to attend, but of course we have TWD Mombi here. Alex, say hello.
Hello, everybody. I'm TWD Mombi, and tonight I'm in the chat also as Mrs. Eddie Munson. And I really am looking forward to talking about this episode. I think it was great. It blew my mind, but it was still amazing. I had a lot of fun watching it. And yeah, I'm ready to get into it. What about you?
Well, I found Madison even more annoying than usual. I'm amazed that a show can exist where most of the characters aren't very likable. So, but yeah, it had its good points. Who is Troy's daughter? Her name is Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her I liked. I actually got some Kaylee Fleming vibes off of her because she was a smartass to Strand, and I loved it. She was just a smartass all around.
I thought she did great. She was a wonderful actress.
She was the highlight of this episode.
Yeah, she really was. I thought so.
But before we get too much into it, I do want to say hi to some people in the chat. John Roberts,
Yeah,
hello. Robin is here. Amani, North of 60, Portrait of a Lady. Ravenwing CLC. So,
hi, everybody.
Hello. And those who haven't commented yet, welcome. And of course,
hello.
And we have Busy.
I want to say this real quick. Unfortunately I can't make it because I haven't watched the episode, but I just wanted to stop by and say what's up. I've been extremely busy, so I haven't had the time to get to it. But I just got home, and I saw that I forgot that. Well, I remembered we had streaming, but I just wanted to make sure I kind of filled you guys in with the information. I just did not show up, Because if I didn't show up, it would have been another situation where I came like an hour late, and I wanted to be honest. So here I am. Hello. I hope you guys are gonna have a wonderful stream. And,
yeah, go watch it.
Pretty much. I'm gonna go watch it right now, and then I'm headed to bed. But I just wanted to stop by, say hello to both of you, and wish you guys luck. Have fun.
Busy.
Well, hello and goodbye, Busy.
Well,
see you guys soon. I'll be here next week for sure. I'll see you then.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. And of course, next week is going to be a little bit of a special week. So before we get into this episode, apparently both episodes are going to run next Sunday of the final two. I don't know why AMC isn't stretching it out a little bit more, but they decided to do two at once. But our discussion of Fear the Walking Dead will actually be on Tuesday of next week. Because Monday is the 1 year anniversary of the end of the Walking Dead main show. And we have a special trivia stream. I hope everyone will be there. There's going to be 22 questions all about the Walking Dead, 2 per season. And I'm working on getting some special guests. I don't want to say anything because I have one yes, I have one not response, and I'm reaching out to a few other people. But we may have some cast members from the original show here. So
yeah.
So
and I might have video history from someone as well. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, we may have all kinds of special stuff to commemorate. I don't want to say celebrate the end of the main show, because celebrating the end of the main show is like saying it was a good thing that it ended. I mean, especially, and again, I know that some people like Fear the Walking Dead a bit more than I do, but if I had my druthers, we would be talking about regular Walking Dead and not Fear the Walking Dead tonight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
visiting
more
all
of a
those.
celebration of, keeping the legacy going and still loving it just as much today, even though it is over, and still carrying on what we have always done with the people that love being here with us. So, yeah, that's what it is.
Yep. It's a kind of a 1-year memorial service, but it's trivia.
Yeah.
It's going to be lots of fun. And hopefully we'll have at least one cast member, if not a few more, with us. No guarantees in this post-strike life. And luckily the strike is over.
Thank goodness.
Otherwise, I would be really unable to invite any of the former cast members because it might be considered promoting some work that they were unable to do so during the strike. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, next week is a special week. But let's get to this episode, which started out with the Germans taking over a little bit of Padre and trying to keep June and Sherry and Dwight and all them who are back from their last episode from finding out that Tracy's in the hands of Strand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting confrontation.
Yeah.
And Victor has balls. I mean, he's got big cojones. He is, to come into Padre like that and take on a position of authority, after all he's done at the tower and all that, basically, you have to have cojones the size of Nebraska in order to be doing something like that. And him having sent out his German allies to find Tracy, well, that didn't surprise me that he would take such a step. And but that led to an interesting choice for Dwight and Sherry and June to basically say, we're going to return Troy's daughter to him, try to get him to agree to not even bother with Padre anymore.
Yep.
And they were going to hand over Victor too, which would not have been pleasant for him.
That really blew my mind. First of all, I was kind of confused as to, who was at Padre? Who was watching Padre? How did he just storm in there and take over like that? I would have liked to see that on screen. And then to see him on the boat, it took me a minute. I didn't even realize he was handcuffed. I thought he was just sitting there next to her talking to them until, I don't know, maybe a minute or so into their conversation. And then I was like, oh my God, he's got handcuffs on. They're going to give him up too.
Yeah.
That was, oh man. There was a part of me that was like, well, maybe it's just part of their plan and everything will be okay. But then it really felt serious. And I kind of felt like, no, they don't understand how he's changed. Madison's not there to vouch for him. It was just like a whole cluster fuck for me. And I was confused and I was sad. I was like a emotional roller coaster from the rip.
Well, it wasn't quite handcuffs. It was zip ties, which are handy. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to get out so much. Your boy Joseph, hey, welcome, and apparently met you at New Jersey HorrorCon, which is kind of the Fear the Walking Dead of horror shows at this point. But yeah, it was interesting to see Victor going along with this, and he managed to not have his German people revolt in his favor. But yeah, he was pretty bold, and yeah, the moment Tracy spoke is like, is a blindfold really necessary? I like, wow, she's got a mouth on her. I like this girl. This is gonna be good.
Definitely Troy's daughter.
But I mean, they could have also been like, we found your daughter, we took her in until we could talk to you. They didn't have to necessarily be like, Strand is a villain. I mean, he kind of is half the time, but they didn't necessarily have to do it like that. They could have said,
Right.
we found this girl, we figured out it was your daughter, now we're contacting you, and, we want to make a deal. They didn't have to hand over Strand, but I think there's a lot of anger still at Strand for what he did. So it makes sense. They're like, there was no love lost in that conversation.
No.
But of course,
Shocked that Sherry and June and Dwight were. How long has it been since they saw him? Did they say?
well,
Was it the hotel? I mean, not the hotel. It was the. Did they see him in the tower?
June was in the tower with him, and
Yeah.
they saw him at the boats, and yeah, they were at the hotel. I actually, for a moment, thought, because I know Sherry and June were at the hotel holding guns on Troy's people.
Yeah.
And-
They made it seem like they hadn't seen him in so long and didn't believe that he had changed or turned a new leaf or anything like that.
Well, I mean, you never know how someone's turned a new leaf. And sometimes when there's a lack in leadership, as I experienced in the original show, even if you don't necessarily want to step up, it's like, for the good of everyone, you have to jump in. So that's kind of what happened in the whole situation where I joined Martinez's little community and ended up, realizing he was going to run everyone into the ground. I needed to, teach him the finer points of golf. And basically, feed him to a bunch of biters. So it's things like that do happen, but yeah, as soon as the previous episode when I saw that Strand had Tracy, figured this was not going to turn out very well for him.
I didn't think it was going to turn out well for anybody.
Yeah, and then they're in the boat, and Strand decides to pull off the blindfold.
Yes, and he was like, "Remember the lighthouse."
It's like, yeah, he's like, look
The way
around
that
this
she
way. You
popped
can't.
up, and her eyes open, and she was just like,
Well,
I was like, "Wow, she's really." Yeah. She blew me away. She was really a good actress. Have we seen her anywhere before?
I don't recall. I don't think I've seen her on anything. She might have been on shows that aren't really genre, but yeah, she was good, and then she managed to get away and still swim with her hands bound in front of her.
Yes. How? I would have drowned.
There are ways, so, but yeah.
Battle.
And I was concerned for her when, she got to land. And lucky for her, Strand was there to rescue her from the biters. But there's a bunch of coincidences, in this show. This show heavily relies on coincidences. Like, Strand ended up close enough to find her quickly before she got, chomped. And then they're close enough to hear the music, so to speak, where Madison's deciding to have a little rock party and bring a bunch of biters to her.
Crewing it up.
What's that?
She was motley crewing it up.
Yeah. I mean, I was a fan back in the day. I mean, I'm still a fan. I still enjoy the music, but yeah. And it's interesting how they still have working batteries. It's she happened to find a boombox that and working batteries, and was able to and a Motley Crue tape. And I'm like, your oxygen bottle's right there.
Yep.
Are you the one to really, I could see her getting out of breath and getting, killed pretty quickly. The fact that she's using a sledgehammer to take out biters is like, really? Is that the way to go? Yeah.
I think, to be quite honest, that whole thing, I think it was just like anger management. She was just trying to get something out of her system, or letting fate take the wheel.
Well, I think she was also hoping to attract the Alicia biter so that she could put her out of a misery.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's a good theory.
Yeah, I think it was her way of, scattershot, trying to find biters in groups and find Alicia. But it's interesting that Tracy has Alicia's medallion. I really hope, from the bottom of my heart, that it doesn't turn out that Alicia is Tracy's mom. Because I couldn't see Alicia, doing the deed with Troy. How old is Tracy?
To me, she looks like she's probably about 10, 11.
Yeah, so she should be too old, I would think.
Yeah.
But Mo was an infant, and Mo grew up, so it's been what? How long's the time jump been? Because she was was she 8? I don't know. I don't think on this show they have a concept of, ages of children, because I think what they're going to say is that I think they're going to do the thing and say it was Alicia's kid.
Man, that's what I was dreading the whole episode. And then obviously when we get to a certain scene, we find out that that's not so, but
we find out that Tracy believes it to be not so.
Yeah, and that's another thing is with her knowing that her dad killed Alicia. I mean, she came out and said that multiple times. Why would you be wearing her medallion? Why would you want to wear someone's medallion that your dad obviously didn't like?
Yeah,
killed?
I'm not sure if she was aware up until Strand identified it where the medallion came from.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
And why Troy would be like, here, wear this nice necklace I just happened to find, after I did a
Merry
very
Christmas,
bad thing.
here you go.
I mean, gifts are at a premium during the apocalypse, But yeah, it was interesting. Luciana shows up when they get to the gas station, and apparently, Tracy's always on the lookout for a way to get back to her dad, so she takes care of things. Hi, Sky. Welcome.
Hi.
You're our third official member of this, so she will probably pull a busy and leave soon enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild when she grabbed that what was it, a walkie-talkie. She just snatched it up and was like, I'm at a gas station on off of state route, blah blah blah. I was just like, wow, wow, wow.
And
She
she's
is
smart to know where
smart.
she is, too.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't only remember the lighthouse. She was looking at everything.
Yeah. It was, and then Luciana shows up and she's like, we heard that on the walkie. Troy's now going to come to our place and, these are our roads. I got to protect my people. She's kind of a one-note song there because she's always like, I got to protect my people. I got to protect my people. It's like, Luciana, you need more dimension, and...
Yeah. She does. She is falling pretty flat on me. And it never used to be like that.
I don't blame the actress. I blame the writers, absolutely, as usual.
Of course.
And of course, you come in here like, this was a good episode, and I'm like picking it apart. So by the time you leave, you're like, maybe it wasn't as good as I thought.
I'm used to it. No, I did. I liked it. And especially, I mean, it's always a good time when Daniel Salazar is on it. I mean, they don't do very good writing for most people, but Daniel, even if he has bad writing, you still enjoy watching him deliver it. He did amazing.
Yeah.
When they were in that car on their way to where they thought Alicia was, and he just went completely ham on Strand. That was wild.
And not to mention telling Tracy, it's like, what her father did and why his daughter died. That was a good wake-up call. I mean, I don't think it's going to change Tracy's allegiance, but it was a good attempt.
You did see the wheels turning, though, after he said it. That's for sure. And I thought that spoke magnitudes when Victor was like, she's just a kid. You don't need to say that stuff to her. And he like laid it out on the table and was like, listen, she's a kid, but she still needs to know what kind of world it is out there, what kind of person her dad is, what she's dealing with. And I mean, there's pros and cons to both things. I mean, in that kind of situation, you never know what is good and what's not good to say and what you should or shouldn't do. But hey, who knows? What's going to come of it?
Yeah. Well, Madison was pretty annoying most of this episode. I mean, well, the fact that, first of all, Strand allowing Tracy to see landmarks and stuff that shows she kind of knew where Padre was, or clues where Padre was. That's one thing. But the thing is, they were going to turn over Victor, one of the most self-serving individuals in the history of this show, to Troy. And what's to say, because Victor knows where Padre is, so they turn him over to Troy, and Troy's like, tell me why I shouldn't slowly remove every single one of your toes with a hammer. And Victor might give up Padre. I mean, yes, he's got people there, but... And they could have potentially said, look, Troy, you need a place to stay. Madison's not with us. She's the one you have beef with. We don't have beef with you. If, we can reach an agreement, maybe you can join us here at Padre. We could use the troops. We could use, we'd be a stronger community together. And with Madison out of the picture, what's the big deal?
Ian Goldberg said, we love Fear the Walking Dead writers.
We love to tie them to a tree just like Tracy was, and maybe not have frozen walkers around, but...
Yep, and then he said, don't think, just watch. I mean, that's what I've been doing this whole time. I know that so many people just either keep comparing it to past seasons, or I know that there's a lot of people out there that feel negatively about it, but that's exactly what I came into these last episodes thinking, was I'm not going to think that much about it. I'm just going to watch it and enjoy it for what it is, because this is it. I mean, what, almost exactly a year? Well, it will be a year since the Walking Dead main show ended, and now Fear is going to end. These are the two, I mean, that was like the mama and this is the baby. They're both ending. They're both going to be done. And I don't want to not enjoy it. So that's why.
I'm not saying it wasn't watchable, but
yeah,
Madison annoys the piss out of me. North of 60 says, did I watch the episode because Tracy's mom was revealed towards the end of the show? A Bida who allegedly is the mom, who Tracy believes is her mom, was revealed towards the
Why
end
would her
of the
mom
show.
be there like that? That was another question.
And why would her mom be missing an arm like that? You know, it's it's like, you know, there's a lot. I'm also curious, you know, I mean, their decomposition has set in to that face. I mean, how can you look at that face and say for sure that's not Alicia? I figure that would be their way of having the Alicia Bida without having to get the actress, is because they could make somebody look enough like her but decomposed, you know, without having to get Alicia, you know, back on the show, which apparently is not going to happen. But yeah,
that's so sad. I really was holding out. I really, really, really was hoping that she was still alive. But I wanted to rewind a little bit and go back to what Amani had said in the chat. She said something about when they were having that conversation amongst those walkers that were frozen, and Daniel had some good lines when they were in the frozen walkers. He was like, "I'm not letting her out of his sight." That was funny. That really was. I giggled.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, you can go back. I got her." No.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. It was interesting to see the frozen style of Bida again. We hadn't seen that since the winter episode.
Yeah, that snow.
And these guys weren't quite as frozen. But when they started breaking free, I'm like, you know, at least they're moving even slower than usual.
But how were they like that? Like, only their feet were stuck. Everything else around them wasn't frozen like that.
It's like they were brought into a muddy area, and then it got so cold that it froze their feet in. Enough so that their legs would break.
Right.
Like,
and then
corpsicles.
Happened. This girl starts running through them, and then all of a sudden they all break free at once.
Well, they get agitated enough. I mean, we've seen it before where there's a bunch of biters on the other side of a fence and they're just milling around, but get them all riled up because there's potential food, and the fence comes tumbling down.
Yeah, actually, I was kind of surprised that when we first came upon them that they weren't all just kind of like sleeping.
Yeah. And I also find it interesting. It's like, it's not a lot of effort at that point, since they're like stuck, to like take out some of them. They're just like walking through the biters, and it's like, well, you got knives, you could just go through and clear it out. So that way, if they do get riled up and start breaking free, there's not as many to face.
Portrait of a Lady says, I don't think Alicia is dead. I mean, the only reason I do think she's dead is because all those other Alicias said that she was. And that's another thing. What the heck? I understand keeping Alicia's legacy alive. That's beautiful. I love that for them. Please do. Alicia had such a big heart. But it was just kind of strange that they were all like considering themselves as Alicia's. I thought that was
We
a
are
little
Negan,
strange.
we are Alicia, you know.
Yeah, I thought that's what they were gonna say. I thought they were gonna say, "I am Alicia."
Yeah, that was well, it was nice to see the M-Rap again. The M-Rap's almost a character by itself, and I was like, when I saw the M-Rap show up, I'm like, any chance that there's going to be, you know, an Al sighting? I mean, I think Al's kind of done with the show, and geez, you know. Oh. Hold on one second. I forgot to plug in my laptop, and I don't want it to die, like, halfway through. So entertain the crowd while I go plug it in.
Okay.
Damn.
So I was actually just going to go back to the chat. Let's see here. Funniest scene of the episode was when Strand was pushed out of the car. That was hilarious. That would totally flabbergasted me. Who else in here? Oh, hey, baby, you're in the chat. Hey, girl. Teddy was right about Alicia. The beginning of establishing a cult fan base like Swifties. Okay, yes, that's very true.
I do find it interesting that Alicia was going around like a messiah, you know, like a savior. Pardon the term, not that kind of savior. But just going and somehow being capable enough to like save all these communities and build this legacy. And she never struck me as that competent. I mean, for a while she wouldn't even fight the biters.
And I'll tell you what, when I saw that M-Rap come on the screen, I literally jumped out of my seat and I was like jumping up and down. My child was like, "Mom, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm so excited. It's gotta be Al. This has gotta be Al. I've been waiting for Al. Al is gonna open that door." And then when it wasn't Al, I was like,
It's like, hey, Strand, you want to do a follow-up interview? I got my camera.
and then it was a little strange the way that they all knew who Madison was from watching her interview. And they said that we watched it so many times that we broke the tape.
Yeah. It's like, is Madison actually that interesting of a person? I'm not thinking so.
Did you see her interview? I know that you said that there was some episodes or
I don't
seasons
recall seeing her interview, or if I only saw part of it. But I guess I would watch it because of her. But I want to go back to Troy's confrontation with Luciana's group.
Yeah, okay.
When he waddled up with his troops and he's like, "You're outnumbered," and it's like,
No, we're not.
Check this out. We got people from Padre. We've got a whole bunch of nameless people who could die without, you know, anyone crying about. We got, you know. And he didn't care, you know, apparently. There was this epic battle that happened off screen. We didn't see any of that battle. We saw the aftermath, which is kind of annoying. It's like, this is like an epic battle that could rival some of the conflicts on the main show. But all we got to see was the aftermath and that Troy somehow got away. It's like, Troy should have been the first one dead. You know, I would have been like, let's make sure we get rid of the leader.
Yes. Why have we not gotten rid of Troy yet? Like we all said, he should have been taken out as soon as we saw him in the hotel when he had everybody tied to those chairs and Daniel came busting in. He should have been dead in that moment.
Yeah, everyone says Daniel's a beast, and his character's supposed to be, but Daniel should have been like, "Oh, you're gonna come and try to take Padre away? You kill my daughter Ophelia? well, goodbye. You know,
Right.
but of
right.
course the plot couldn't go forward because Troy has to be the big bad this season.
Exactly. We have to have a villain, right? We can't just be happy. We can't just put a nice little bow on things. We have to more than likely have some kind of devastation. And but I do like how we're wrapping up storylines. I mean, better late than never with Alicia, but I still wish that she would have been alive. And I guess there's still people that are holding out that she really is.
I mean, we haven't seen a body, so in the Fear the Walking Dead universe,
no one's gone till they're gone.
Yeah. We're not too far gone. I mean, Troy came back after getting hit in the head. Notice he's not wearing the sunglasses anymore. He made such a big deal. It's like, it's not pretty, is it? See, that's what she did to me. And now he's just walking around. He doesn't bother with the sunglasses because I guess he doesn't care that people are like, oh, wow, you have a cool eye. You know? Yeah. He made a big deal of that, and now he doesn't wear the sunglasses at all.
Nope.
I don't know. Again, these writers are like, do they have any idea what it looks like? Yeah, if they wanted to make it look ugly, they could have, made it look ugly instead of just a guy who's like a decent looking dude, probably better looking than me at this point, and he's got a differently colored eye, and a great story to tell girls in bars before he, takes them back to his place. So, yeah, there's a lot of inconsistencies in this show. I'm sorry. I enjoy logical stuff happening in my show, and this show is just.
It wouldn't be The Walking Dead if it was logical, Governor.
Well, there are certain things I can accept. I mean, the existence of the Bitas isn't logical, isn't really medically feasible for them to last this long. 28 days later is much more likely, where after a month, these Bitas would be biting it. But there are certain things I can accept as part of this universe, and then just inconsistent characters, stupid decisions that are clearly only made because, we need the plot to move forward. So I have a feeling one day I'm going to run into one of these Fear the Walking Dead writers at a convention and they're going to punch me in the face. But
I hope you get it on video.
That would be hilarious. Of course, when I got up, there'd be one less Fear the Walking Dead writer, but
fear will be over anyways.
Yeah, it's like, well, I wish I could have done this when the show was on. It might have improved it, but
to be quite honest, I really just feel like the Fear writers had a bigger idea, and I feel like that bigger idea got shut down before they wanted it to, and therefore everything has been rushed, everything has been condensed. They've probably had to nix a lot of the stuff that they wanted to do, and that's why it's coming across to us so choppy and confusing and bad. But I don't know.
Well, these are the same folks who had this great idea for the last season, and that was painful. I mean, to be honest, if they had a better vision for the show and they had done better with the writing, this might not be the final season. It's like this Fear the Walking Dead could be carrying the torch on for, up to season 10 or 11. But, there's been more bad seasons than good. And they just come up with these ideas and say, let's shoehorn them in here. I mean, the Alicia squad is interesting.
Yes.
Especially the girl who Strand turned her and her father away. I want to say I almost remember, that girl being, approaching the tower. I can't be sure, but then again, he turned so many people away. It doesn't have to be anyone that we actually saw during the show. But the Alicia squad is an interesting concept. But again, Alicia's like this messiah, this, or, someone like in Kung Fu is just wandering around from place to place, solving problems with her superior martial arts skill. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, she was sick. Apparently the fever faded, so she beat the bite-a-bug. Mm-hmm. And then somehow she just got taken out by Troy. And I have the horrendous feeling that Madison's going to find out that she almost killed her own granddaughter.
That's messy.
It's like these writers throw ideas, and it's like, wouldn't it be neat if Troy's daughter was Alicia's? All right. We don't have to justify that at all. Like, Alicia would sleep with Troy after, everything that happened.
Never.
Unless he forced himself on her, which is a horrible thought.
Ooh, that would be a whole other can of worms. I would hope not.
Yeah. I mean, certainly wouldn't blame Tracy.
I mean, things do happen in the apocalypse, and there's still crazy, stupid people out there, so Troy being one of them, but I would hope that Alicia wouldn't get herself in a situation like that.
In the chat, Ian's like, these writers won't have jobs after the show is over. I don't see any show wanting them after this mess. They also destroyed Once Upon a Time. Yeah, they sank that one into the ground, Amani says. Jason Gabriel says, I don't think there's anything wrong with this show in your opinion. And you're welcome to your opinion. And yes, I died 7 seasons ago. Yes, unfortunately I did.
You're keeping his legacy going.
But in the chat, who's the better villain in this universe, Troy or the governor?
Oh, do a poll. That's fun. I like when you do those.
Yeah, let's do a poll.
Put a couple of them in there.
Start a poll. Who?
But no, in regards to what Jason Gabriel said, I have always loved Fear the Walking Dead. I feel like I'm that one-off. I know there's a lot of people out there that like Fear, but the people that like Fear always feel like they're the only people that like Fear. And that's me. I have a lot of friends that don't like Fear, and I'm over here in a corner like, hey guys, I like Fear. Don't hate me. Can I still be your friend? I have a lot of fun watching Fear. And I don't want it to come to an end. I feel like there's still a lot of story that we can tell, or that the writers can tell. But unfortunately, it seems like the road has come to an end, and we aren't going to be able to go any further. But did you put that poll in there yet?
I'm starting it. I'm putting me up against 3 villains from Fear, because I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, Negan, so awesome. And I also agree that Alpha made a really good villain. So I'd be if people voted for Alpha over me, I would understand. But I'm putting myself up against, the Padre leaders, the kids who took over Padre after their pa died. Troy, and I'm putting in Teddy. Teddy was actually a good villain.
Oh yeah, Teddy was a very good villain.
I mean,
have you met the actor?
Many times, interviewed him many times.
Yeah.
John Glover is an awesome individual.
Yes.
And yeah, Teddy. If Teddy comes close to me, I'm okay with that. I'm watching the poll right now, 8 votes in. I'm in the lead. Teddy's got 25%. The Padre leaders actually have.
So can we kind of lump Dakota in with Teddy because she was like his lemming and I freaking hated Dakota.
Well, I mean, she was a villain, but
do you think she was just a child that was manipulated?
I think she had major issues and needed a lot of therapy. Got kind of turned into a sociopath. You know, a sociopathic child like that, you know, it's all about her. 10 votes in. I have 50% of the vote. Teddy has 30. Troy has 0. Everyone says Teddy was much better than Troy.
Troy is a poser.
And Bebe didn't vote for me, so, you know, I'm going to keep that in mind next time you're in this chat here, Bebe. Remember that. But yeah, me compared to Troy. Yeah, Dakota did have problems before Teddy came around. I mean, he took advantage of her problems and said, hey, you're a psycho like me. But, yeah, so we've only got 10 votes. More people can vote in the poll if they want, but...
Vote!
The Padre leaders just got a little bit more love. I thought they were lame villains. I'm really surprised. I actually think Troy at least has a little bit more charisma than the Padre duo, who were like, let's pretend to be dad. I really did not like them as villains.
One thing that I was thinking about this episode with how everything started to fall apart is everything was like a well-oiled machine when the Padre leaders were there before our people killed them. I mean, and now, doesn't it always just seem like our people literally destroy everything they touch? Almost like Dwight feels about himself. I feel like that's what most of our core characters do. They just go in and destroy everything.
Yeah, they find a situation, and as soon as they're involved, there was this nice hotel with a bunch of people surviving, getting along, and then Madison came along, and it fell.
Not anymore.
Yep.
Okay, so that brings us back to the episode when we show back up to the gas station and the fight is over there, and Strand is looking for Frank, and that destroyed me. That made me feel all sorts of feelings to see him engaged in that way and so sad and conflicted, wanting to save his friend. It should have never came to that.
Yeah, but I still think it was a shame that they didn't do the show part of that battle. They just told about it afterwards. It's like, did you not have the budget?
That would have been so cool.
I mean, they could have at least shown the start of it. You know, they basically said, you know, Troy was acting big and bad and saying, you know, well, there might be more of you, but it's like, do we care? And it's like, well, okay.
Troy, where's Troy at?
It's like, and then he ran and he stole a truck, and he's probably out to find Tracy. So, all right, I'm going to be closing this poll in a moment, so this is your final chance to vote. But Troy thus far has no votes, so there's no Troy fans out there. So we're ending the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is for Troy. And the poll is over with 12 votes. So I am the winner with 50% of the vote. And, yeah, so I'm president now.
The governor! Yeah, I mean, the governor is a great villain. To this day, I refuse to meet his ass. I'll stand in the back of the room and look at him like this.
I mean, I think you should meet him.
I know. Everybody says he's so nice.
He is, and to the point that I have this one particular Walking Dead fan that I know that I see at many conventions, and when I'm there and David is there, she always says, "Nope, he's not the governor. You're the governor. He smiles way too much. He's so, pleasant and happy." And it's like, no, you walk around and you look like the governor, and and I look and I'm like, yeah.
I just feel like I know that it was just his character, but when he did what he did to Maggie, no, I just couldn't look at him the same after that.
Well, again, that was the writers. In this case, they were good writers because they did an amazing thing. And the thing is, I mean, there was much more horrible things that happened in the comics. And I don't even know the full extent, nor do I want to know the full extent of what happened to the governor in the comics. But he basically, used a threat against Maggie, made her extremely vulnerable, but he didn't actually cross that line,
He bent her over a table.
But did he actually, he physically abused her, he did not sexually abuse her.
He sexually assaulted her.
How did he sexually assault her?
He ripped her shirt off. She was half naked.
No, he never ripped her shirt off. He made her take it off, or I made her take it off by threatening Glenn. She took it off. She could have kept it on. Glenn would be not having a hand, but it was a psychological torture, but she was assaulted. I assaulted her, but I did not sexually assault her. I did not tear her clothes off. I just slammed her down onto a table, and then I let her go.
Yeah. Governor is definitely the biggest villain. You won that poll, bro.
But the thing about that thing is a lot of the actors who are real pricks on shows, the actors themselves are really nice. Porch Dick Pete, one of the nicest guys you ever want to meet, Corey Brill. No one liked him all that much. The guy who played that savior that really had it in for Morgan, really nice guy in real life. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he's a nice guy. I've gotten hugs from the man, and he actually,
Also plays Sebastian. Nobody likes Sebastian, but he's a great person.
Yeah, there's lots of great actors who play villains, and you need villains. I mean, Mark Hamill is the friggin' Joker.
Yeah. Have you ever met the gal that played Pamela?
No. I have not met that actress as of yet.
I think that Pamela was a great female villain. I mean, the only other female villain that really had a stand in that show for any amount of time.
Yeah.
Besides Alpha.
She was a different kind of villain. I mean, I didn't like her trying to be a governor. But, yeah, Pamela was a good villain. She was kind of like the 1%er type villain. Bernie would be like, look at this governor. What is she doing? She's trying to keep the 99% down, taking all. She's part of the 1%. She doesn't have health care for everybody. She should have health care for everybody. It was, yeah, she was a different kind of villain. Alpha would kill you, and Pamela would have you killed slowly somewhere. Portrait really hated the governor.
Oh, I loved how crazy cuckoo her right-hand man was, played by Josh Hamilton. God, I can't remember his character name.
Lance.
Yes, Lance.
Lance
Ugh.
Hornsby. I've met him. Very nice guy as well.
Yes,
know.
very guy. He has a very lengthy IMDb.
Yep. So everyone's saying that it's. I mean, I forced her to take her shirt off. Yes, but I suppose you could consider that sexual assault. But again, it was a psychological manipulation. I did not touch that woman, Maggie Green. I did not have sex with that woman, Maggie Green. Yeah, and I'm not saying that I did the right thing all the time. Hell, I was the villain, but but we have Madison ready to bash in the head of a little girl, because she's doing what she can to survive.
Yeah. Or was she gonna bust in her head, or was she gonna let the walker bite her? I thought she was gonna bash his leg so he fell forward and got her.
Well, either way, the kid would die.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so, I mean, what's worse? I mean, neither is great, but making a grown woman feel vulnerable by making her take off her top and, basically, slamming her down on a table, but not going to the extent, or, basically trying to have a bite kill a little kid. I mean, both are kind of heinous. I'm not excusing what I did, but Madison, she is she is not a hero. She is a character. Of course, heroes, villains, I mean, if you had followed my story from the beginning, you might think Rick was a villain. He's done some pretty heinous things too.
I think it would have been fun to see our Fear the Walking Dead cast come together with the Walking Dead cast. And we never got that. I know we had the crossover with Morgan and Dwight.
Yeah, and Sherry is technically, because she was on the main show.
That was one thing that I always kind of held out for and crossed my fingers. I was like, oh my gosh, some point somewhere everybody's just going to come together. I thought that their timelines and their stories were going to cross paths and just make this huge one show big bang thing, and it never happened.
Well, it's possible that at the end of this, Padre is like toast. So they're looking for a home, and they're in a convoy. And who steps out but Aaron saying, "Hi, we've been observing you. Let me tell you about the Commonwealth." That would be, and that then ends scene, and basically you assume that they join the Commonwealth, and everyone's a big happy family.
Big Rob just said that no one in The Walking Dead are heroes. I thought Carl was a hero.
He had standards. Amani says, hate when people say Rick could look like a villain from another perspective. Again, he did some questionable things even when he was in Alexandria. He had to be put down. He went nuts. He turned away Sasha and Tyrone, because he was friggin' nuts. Or Tyrese. He also, again, unprovoked attacked the Sanctuary Outpost. Everyone brings that up, but it's true. He didn't have a dog in that fight. But he did it. Then there was when he was with the Saviors and Morgan, and they're like, let us free. My word is my bond. And then they turned on the Saviors. He did some shady shit.
Well, and that brings up something, Amani, I'm not sure how active you are on Instagram, but I can't remember exactly the page. I'll have to share it with you sometime, but there was a reel that I saw recently that Robert Kirkman actually said there was a point in time in the comics that he was going to change everything around and have us be on the other side of things and in someone else's group and see Rick and his group from another perspective of how Rick really does look like a villain to everyone else. And he kind of goes into detail about he didn't want people coming after him with pitchforks and all of these things, so he didn't actually end up doing it, but he did have the thought. He really did. He wanted to show people just how villainous Rick really did turn at certain points.
Indeed. Big Rob and apparently Bebe Rose say Negan and the governor are nowhere near alpha level as the antagonists. That's because we acted like humans. Alpha was just something else. She was like throwing off all the trappings of civilization. So if that makes me not as bad of a villain as Alpha because I decided to retain some aspect of my humanity, then so be it.
Alpha, very sick in the head.
Portrait of a Lady says Rick was never a villain. Case closed. Yeah,
I mean,
that's blind devotion for you.
Do what they've got to do in order to live.
I mean, there were plenty of people in, Rick, he did some shady things. I mean, if you look in balance in the show, he did more good than evil.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at my accomplishments, I kept all the people in Woodbury safe for years until, of course, we met Rick's group. And just like the people on Fear the Walking Dead, everything went to shit. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we have gone far afield.
So the gal that we saw that Tracy said was her mom, whoever she thought her mom was, she said that she followed Alicia, didn't she? That she believed in what Alicia believed in.
I don't recall. I mean, to be honest,
because she said Madison killed her, or no, because she said
Madison killed her mom
because she believed in what Madison was preaching.
Which, again, in this show, definitions of who killed who are really way out there. It's like, with the Padre people, they're like, Madison killed your mom because she convinced her to go up against Padre, who did the actual killing. But, obviously, Madison is to blame here. So, that's how we're doing it. That's, I give you a little hope, and then you make a mistake and get killed while on a journey of hope.
And I don't like that she's running off on her own. I don't. Why is Madison's going to get herself killed? She has a death wish.
Yeah, well, at this point, it's like, so. I'm not attached to Madison because ever since she's been back, she's been either stealing children, making bad decisions. It's all about her. She basically messed up Strand's second chance at a happy life. She is all about her and her goals and nothing else. And to be honest, it's like, yes, potentially there's an Alicia biter out there walking around, or there might not be because someone else took out the Alicia biter. It's like, couldn't you eventually, it would be something if she found a dead biter that happened to be Alicia and someone else took that biter down. I mean, so many biters get killed by humans.
I feel like at this point we might not actually find out.
Yeah. But
I am interested to see what's going to happen next. I'm always ready for the next one.
I'm always hoping that they're going to redeem themselves and there's going to be some revelation that actually makes some of these bad decisions and bad plot points actually less bad.
We've got two more.
Two more, and they're both going to be next this coming Sunday. 6 days away.
Yeah.
Bebe says she thinks Tracy may kill Troy.
That would be a plot twist.
Patricide. That would be something.
To be quite honest, I'd be surprised if she makes it out of those walkers. They were all going after her.
Well, a lot of them were still stuck. The ones that were near, Strand and Madison were breaking free. And I don't know that the ones further down were agitated enough to break free quite yet. But I think it would be a waste for her to just die off screen by a bite. Or show up, Dad, I've been bitten, and then, Troy have to kill her. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could feel the pain there, twice over. But it's going to be interesting to see how they wrap this up. And I really, really hope that the writers did not decide to make Alicia the mom, but they're throwing all these hints that...
I just don't think it's feasible. I mean, this child, okay, even if we're wrong on the age, if she's 8, then that means that that Alicia would have had to have gotten busy as soon as she got off that raft.
Yep. It's like, hey, Troy, want to do it?
And I doubt that happened. I mean, she's too busy trying to save everyone's life and be a, savior to a certain extent. I
She's
think that
trying to be Laurent for the U.S.
being with a man is the farthest thing that was from her mind. And if she was already pregnant, which... Who was that guy that she was involved with? Remember when she got bit in the tunnel?
Yeah, and the one that got tossed off the roof later.
Yeah.
I forget his name, but yeah, I don't think...
That is the only chance. That's the only way that she might have already been pregnant.
Right. And then,
But then where would Troy have come from? Why did Troy all of a sudden become the father of her? That's...
Yeah,
we'll see.
I don't know where they're going with this. I just fear it. Big fucking gun 9000 personally thinks that Troy will survive. It's possible. I mean, honestly, since I did not watch that season, I don't have the animosity towards Troy that everyone else does. But it sounds like he did some pretty bad shit.
Mm-hmm. He was crazy cuckoo. I mean, I feel like everybody in this universe at some point is just crazy cuckoo.
Where are all the therapists?
Yes. We need the
therapists. Do they die
therapist.
quicker than doctors in this show?
Well, okay, this is very off topic, but still kind of related to the apocalypse. I had a conversation with a client in September, and they said... They were a conspiracy theorist, and they said something about everyone that got the COVID vaccine was going to become a zombie. That the CDC or whoever it was that manufactured
That's
was
ridiculous.
Just flip a switch, and everyone was going, and they were going to start becoming cannibals and eating people and being ravenous and doing all that. And I was just like, that blew my mind that this person was saying that. And then I was thinking to myself, well, if that's so, you can kiss all of your medical professionals goodbye.
Because they all got vaccinated.
Yeah, you couldn't keep your job if you didn't get vaccinated.
And a lot of these conspiracy theories are interesting, but you got to think, what would be the motivation for turning, however many people in the population got vaccinated, which is more than half of
Population.
but you flick a switch and they all become ravenous zombie monsters. And they're not just going to be chewing on other people who have the vaccine. They're going to be chewing on everybody. So that basically is going to kill off 3/4 of the population. Huh?
I would say at least 80% off the bat.
Yeah, 80% of the population, which basically means that reduces your tax revenue quite a bit. So why would the government want to do that? It reduces your consumer base. So why would the corporations want to do that? They want people out here buying their products, paying them money, working and slogging at a job to give them money. A lot of these conspiracy theories, it's like, what is the motivation for, them to do this, and for them to, if they were to eliminate so much of the population, willy-nilly, I mean, it's not going to help the rich get richer. It's not going to help the government stay in power, unless that's the way that they would warn all the non-vaxxed people to go hide and flick the switch. And basically, that, I would say that the majority of people who have not been vaccinated are more right-leaning. So maybe that's how the Republicans are going to take back control. But then how would they be involved in the vaccine process anyway? It does... These conspiracy theories are interesting. Mm-hmm. But they don't make a lot of sense, a lot of them.
And then I heard someone the other day say that this was the most expensive apocalypse that they've ever seen. That they never expected the apocalypse to be so expensive. I was like, that's true. That's true.
Northern 60 asked, do we think that the main cast will survive the finale? I hope some of them die off. I mean, we kind of got a little shortchanged with the main show. Portrait of a... He says, your friend knows what they're talking about. Better listen. They do not have the technology at this point to inject nanomachines into our bodies to cause us to become zombies with some kind of flick of a switch radio signal.
Hope so.
No, they do not quite have that technology quite yet. It would be it's a nice theory, but again, what's the motivation? You're basically destroying your base, and the thing is, these greedy corporations, that want to sell us products, if they kill off the customers, they're hurting themselves. That's why I always thought, I mean, it doesn't make a ton of sense for China to attack the U.S. as long as we are like their number one consumer of their goods, because it destroys their economy. I'm not saying everyone over in China is sensible and it couldn't happen. I'm just saying it doesn't logically make sense for them to do that.
Mm-hmm. So my iPad died. I cannot see the chat anymore. Is anything going on in there?
Well, Big Fucking Gun 9000 says, getting Metal Gear Solid PTSD flashbacks when I said nanomachines. Yeah. But we're going to wrap this up anyway. It's 10:14. Busy's not coming because he's asleep by now, I hope. And Bebe says, I say anybody who had the Rona could easily be a walker. With a lot of emojis. I've had the Rona at least once. It was not a fun experience. But yeah, I've been vaxxed, so who knows? Maybe they're going to flick a switch somewhere. Yeah.
Right. That was one thing that I said to her, too. I was like, man, after all these years of watching The Walking Dead and thinking that I would be prepared to fight against the threat, and now you're trying to tell me that I'm gonna be the threat.
Yeah. Well, you are
That's
very
why-
intimidating. So, yeah. Well, I am very curious to see how this ends up. We basically end up with Madison running off like, I'm going to go kill Troy. I mean, you also said you were going to go find Alicia.
Let's go.
I mean, that didn't work. So, making a declaration.
With you 100%. Let's go. Let's get rid of Troy. He needs to be out of here.
He does. And she basically took the Alicia squad's MRAP. Did she ask permission? No. I think that's Grand Theft Auto.
I mean, at this point, it looked like she was their freaking messiah. So they were like, ooh, just take it.
You can have anything you want, Ms. Madison. Yeah. Apparently we're all infected, though, so, you know, we could all become
We
viruses.
are all infected. Hey, have you ever visited Sonoy or any of the filming locations?
I went to Sonoy, couldn't get into Nick and Norman's, was way too crowded, but
Always.
went to the Woodbury shop, walked around, dressed as the governor, got a lot of nods, you know. Went into City Hall, took over. No, I didn't do that. It would have been funny, though.
Did you make it to the bridge where Rick disappeared?
No, I was there before Rick did his disappearing act, so.
You should go back because it's graffitied all over. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. All the love from Walking Dead fans out there. And there's actually one spot in the road that someone graffitied, "We are all infected." And it just like being out there in that moment on that bridge, knowing what happened and who was there, it was very emotional. I was just like, wow, this is great.
Yeah, I mean, I will be going down to Atlanta again in September. But for Dragon Con, but I don't know. We'll see about visiting Sonoy again.
Oh, did you see that Cooper just announced a convention that he started? In December?
He started a convention?
Yeah, him and I think Dan Fogler. I mean, his name was tagged. It's called Kingdom Con or Kingdom Convention or Kingdom Fest.
Good night, baby. She's leaving us.
Bye, baby. Good night, honey.
I'll have to take a look.
Yeah, he just posted it, I think, around just after 7 or so.
All right. I will have to check that out and check with Koopa and say, what's going on, man? What are you doing? Warning in
Yeah.
on new territories.
Yes.
But, all right. Time for your shameless self-promotion. And then we're going to end this thing because I need to get some food. I'm
All
hungry.
right. Thanks everybody for coming to watch tonight. I had a great time. I overall did really like the episode. There was some confusing things. There was some things we might have been able to do without, but all in all, I really did like it. And I'm really, really looking forward to the last 2 episodes next week. If you'd like to follow me on YouTube and Instagram, I'm known there in the same names. Whenever YouTube and AMC allows me to react to things that I upload, I react there. And yeah.
She's not talking strikes. She's talking copyright.
Maybe it'll be better now. I don't know. We'll see. I would really like to get some new content up, and I know that my followers would like it too.
And of course, I am the governor. I have to say, Tracy was the standout of this episode. My favorite character in the entire season thus far. Because again, I got some Kaylee vibes. So I would say this is a young, talented actress on the level of Kaylee Fleming, and hope to see more good things from her in the future.
Yeah.
And of course, Tune into Fandom Spotlight and Toy Spotlight. We got more stuff coming out. Still have some panels coming out from for Fandom Spotlight, and next month we're doing Steel City Con, so we're gonna have the Scream reunion panel that's gonna be coming out next month. We're gonna have the Lost Boys reunion panel coming out next month. We're gonna have a lot of interesting things, including some stuff from Stranger Things and the original X-Men movies, and it's going to be a good time. So, but again, thanks everyone for popping on and watching us as we have our differing views on this show, and hear all my bitching and complaining. But we will hopefully see you all next week. Again, trivia will be on Monday night, and then Tuesday night we will discuss the finale of the Fear the Walking Dead show. So it's going to be a 2-night special event next week. So don't miss it. Hopefully see you all then. Governor and TWD Mambe, we are out. Okay, wave, look awkward. It'll be fun.
Sedated, intoxicated, we're automated and overpopulated. We're all fish in a stream, swimming towards a vicious dream. Don't you know